Which oil don't manufacturers want you using Amsoil or their own branded OEM oil? And more importantly, why? If you've ever been to a dealership for an oil change, they push their branded oil hard. Toyota Genuine Motor Oil, Honda Genuine Oil, GM Dexos Approved Oil. They make it sound like using anything else will void your warranty or destroy your engine. But is that true, or is there something else going on? After over 20 years working on engines and dealing with warranty claims, I'm going to show you exactly what manufacturers really think about Amsoil versus their own branded oils, what they're actually worried about, and which oil genuinely protects your engine better. Let's cut through the marketing and get to the truth. First, let's be clear about what OEM oil actually is. When you buy Toyota Genuine Motor Oil or Honda Genuine Oil, you're not buying oil that Toyota or Honda manufactures themselves. They don't make oil. What you're buying is oil that's been formulated to their specifications and branded with their name. The actual oil is manufactured by companies like ExxonMobil, Idemitsu, Phillips 66, or other major oil producers under contract. Toyota slaps their label on it, marks up the price, and sells it through their dealership network. OEM oils are formulated to meet the minimum specifications required for those engines. And I want to emphasize that word, minimum. These oils meet the necessary API service category, viscosity grade, and any proprietary manufacturer specs, like GM Dexos or Ford WSS standards. They're perfectly adequate oils that will protect your engine when changed on schedule, but they're not premium products. They're baseline formulations designed to hit a price point that makes sense for high-volume dealership service. Now let's talk about Amsoil. Amsoil Signature Series is a premium synthetic oil formulated with Group 4 PAO base stocks and a robust additive package designed for extended drain intervals and maximum protection. It's not a baseline product, it's engineered to exceed minimum requirements significantly. The question is, do manufacturers actually care if you use it instead of their branded oil? Here's the reality. Manufacturers don't care which oil you use as long as it meets their specifications. That's what the Magnuson-Moss Warranty Act legally requires. A manufacturer cannot void your warranty simply because you used a different brand of oil. They can only deny a warranty claim if they can prove that the oil you used caused the failure and that it didn't meet the required specifications for your engine. So if your Honda Accord requires 0W20 oil that meets API SP and Honda HTO 06 specifications, and you use Amsoil Signature Series 0W20 that meets those same specs, Honda cannot legally void your warranty just because it's not Honda branded oil. The oil meets the spec. That's what matters legally. But here's where it gets complicated. While manufacturers can't legally deny coverage for using a different brand, they absolutely will scrutinize your claim more closely if you're not using their branded oil. And if there's any ambiguity about whether the oil you used caused the problem, they'll use that against you. Let me give you a real-world example. I had a customer with a 2020 Toyota Camry under powertrain warranty. At 45,000 miles, the engine developed a timing chain rattle. This is a known issue on some 2.5-liter Toyota engines, not caused by oil, just a manufacturing tolerance issue. The customer had been using Amsoil Signature Series 0W20 and changing it every 10,000 miles, which is within Amsoil's recommendation and well within the oil's capability. He took it to the Toyota dealership for warranty repair. The service advisor asked what oil he'd been using. He said Amsoil. Immediately, the advisor raised an eyebrow and said they'd need to verify the oil met Toyota's specifications before approving the warranty work. They pulled an oil sample and sent it for analysis. The analysis came back clean. TBN was fine, viscosity was in spec, wear metals were low. Toyota had to approve the warranty repair because the oil met spec and wasn't the cause of failure. But here's the point. If he'd been using Toyota Genuine Oil, they wouldn't have questioned it. They wouldn't have pulled a sample. They would have just fixed it. Using a non-OEM oil, even a premium one like Amsoil, invited extra scrutiny. It didn't void his warranty, but it made the process more difficult. Now let's talk about what manufacturers are actually worried about. It's not that Amsoil is a bad oil. They know it's not. What they're worried about is two things: control and profit. First, control. When you use OEM branded oil, the manufacturer knows exactly what's going into your engine. They formulated it, they spec'd it, they tested it in their engines. If something goes wrong, they can't blame the oil because it's their oil. That predictability makes warranty management easier for them. When you use a third-party oil, even one that meets spec, there's a variable they don't control, and manufacturers don't like variables. Second, profit. OEM branded oil is a significant profit center for dealerships and manufacturers. When you come in for an oil change, they're marking up that oil significantly over what a bulk consumer oil would cost. Toyota genuine oil might cost them $4 to $5 per quart wholesale, and they're charging you $8 to $10 per quart retail plus labor. That margin matters when you're doing thousands of oil changes per month across a dealer network. If customers start using Amsoil or Mobil 1 or Pennzoil instead of OEM oil, the dealership loses that markup. They still make money on labor, but the parts profit disappears. That's why service advisors push OEM oil so hard. It's not because Amsoil will hurt your engine, it's because it hurts their bottom line. Now let's compare performance, because this is what actually matters for your engine. Is OEM oil as good as Amsoil, or is there a real difference? I've analyzed used oil samples from identical engines running OEM oil versus Amsoil at the same intervals. Here's what the data shows. At 5,000 miles, both oils look fine. TBN is adequate on both. Wear metals are low, viscosity is stable. At this short interval, there's no meaningful performance difference. At 7,500 miles, Amsoil starts showing an advantage. TBN on Amsoil samples is around 8 to 9. TBN on OEM oil samples is around 5 to 6. That's measurable. Wear metals are slightly lower with Amsoil. We're talking 8 to 10 parts per million for iron versus 12 to 15 with OEM oil. Both are acceptable, but Amsoil is protecting better. At 10,000 miles, the gap widens significantly. Amsoil TBN is around 6 to 7. OEM oil TBN is often down to 3 to 4, which is getting low. Viscosity on Amsoil remains stable. OEM oil is starting to shear. A 5W30 might be testing closer to a 20 weight. Oxidation is beginning to show in OEM oil samples, but not in Amsoil. The reason for this difference is straightforward. Amsoil uses better base oil and a more robust additive package. OEM oils use Group 3 base stocks and baseline additive chemistry designed to protect adequately at recommended intervals, usually 5,000 to 7,500 miles. They're not engineered for extended service. Amsoil is. Let me give you another real-world comparison. I tore down two Ford F-150 EcoBoost engines at 120,000 miles. One ran Motorcraft synthetic blend. Ford's OEM oil changed every 5,000 miles religiously. The other ran Amsoil Signature Series, changed every 10,000 miles. When I pulled the valve covers, here's what I saw. The Motorcraft engine had noticeable varnish buildup on the valve covers and some carbon on the intake valves. The cam lobes showed normal wear for the mileage but had visible wear patterns. The turbo bearings had some heat discoloration. Nothing catastrophic, but signs of stress. The Amsoil engine was cleaner, minimal varnish, less carbon on the valves. Cam lobes looked better, smoother surfaces, less visible wear. Turbo bearings were in better condition. Same engine, same miles, different oil and interval. The Amsoil engine looked measurably better despite going twice as long between changes. Does that mean OEM oil is bad? No. It means it's adequate when changed frequently. But Amsoil is better, objectively, measurably better, especially if you want to extend intervals or if you're putting stress on the engine. Now let's address the warranty question head-on, because this is what scares people. Will using Amsoil void your warranty? The legal answer is no, as long as the oil meets your vehicle's specifications. But the practical answer is more nuanced. If you're under warranty and you use Amsoil, keep documentation. Save your receipts. Keep a log of oil changes showing date, mileage, and product used. If you have an engine failure and the dealership questions your oil choice, you need to be able to prove you used oil that met spec and that you changed it on schedule. Without documentation, you're in a weak position. Also, understand that dealerships will sometimes try to deny claims based on oil, even when they legally can't. I've seen service advisors tell customers, "You used non-OEM oil, so we can't cover this under warranty." That's often not true, but it scares customers into paying out of pocket. If you know your rights under the Magnuson-Moss Warranty Act, you can push back. But most people don't, and dealerships know that. Here's my advice. If you're under warranty and you want to use Amsoil, do it, but be prepared to defend your choice if something goes wrong. Keep your paperwork. Make sure the oil you're using explicitly meets the manufacturer's spec. Not just equivalent to, but actually meets the spec with documentation you can provide. And if the dealership pushes back on a warranty claim, don't fold immediately. Ask them to prove that the oil caused the failure and that it didn't meet spec. Make them document their denial in writing. Most of the time, they'll back down. If you're out of warranty, this entire discussion is irrelevant. Use whatever oil you want. Amsoil, Mobil 1, Pennzoil, or even OEM oil if you prefer. There's no warranty to protect, so the choice is purely about which oil protects your engine best and which makes financial sense for your driving habits. So which oil don't manufacturers want you using? Honestly, they'd prefer you use their branded OEM oil because it's profitable for them and it eliminates a variable they don't control. But from a pure engineering and legal standpoint, they don't care as long as the oil meets spec. The real question is, which oil actually protects your engine better? And the answer, based on chemistry, used oil analysis, and engine teardowns, is that Amsoil performs better than OEM oil, especially at longer intervals or under stress. OEM oil is adequate. Amsoil is superior. If you're doing frequent oil changes every 5,000 miles and you want to save money, OEM oil is fine. It'll protect your engine adequately. But if you want to extend intervals, if you're towing, if you're in extreme temperatures, or if you just want the best protection available, Amsoil is worth the extra cost. Manufacturers push OEM oil because it's profitable and predictable, not because it's the best oil for your engine. Amsoil performs better, but it requires you to be more proactive about documentation and defending your choices if you're under warranty. What's your experience? Have you had warranty issues using non-OEM oil? Or have you run Amsoil or other premium oils with no problems? Drop a comment with your story. I want to hear real-world experiences. And if this cleared up the confusion about OEM oil versus aftermarket premium oils, hit that like button. Next week, I'm breaking down the truth about high-mileage oils. Do they actually work, or are they just rebranded regular oil with a higher price tag? You're going to want to see the analysis. If you're not subscribed, hit that button now, drop a comment, I respond to everyone.